Uganda is one of the best places in the world to observe gorillas in their natural habitat. There are two places to see them: Bwindi Impenetrable National Park, a vast, untouched jungle, and Ngahinga Gorilla National Park, both in the southwest of the country. The gorillas in the impenetrable forest can be found between 3,280 and 7,874 feet in altitude, requiring a 2 to 6 hour hike to locate the gorilla families. These mountain treks can be quite expensive, with prices starting at $700 for a permit that allows you to be close to the gorillas for 1 hour. These are the gorilla barenge or mountain gorilla species, and it is estimated that there are only around 1,000 individuals of this species remaining, although the population is increasing. In 1989, there were as few as 620 worldwide. These primates are very social, living in cohesive and stable groups with long-lasting relationships between males and females. Although they are much stronger than an average human, mountain gorillas tend to be shy and can be afraid of insects or reptiles, as well as avoiding rain, like humans. One of the main causes of this species being so close to extinction is poaching. Gorillas were killed by traps set for other animals, but they were also hunted for use in traditional medicine or for their heads, hands, and feet, which were sold to collectors. The young were captured to be sold to zoos, researchers, or wealthy individuals who wanted them as pets, resulting in the loss of an adult, since group members can fight to the death to protect the young. In the past, young gorillas have been sold for up to $40,000. Today, poaching in Uganda is less common, although it remains a real danger to the species. In fact, in 2020, a 25-year-old male gorilla known as Rafiki was killed. Stay with me to learn more about this extraordinary country, how people live, its customs, what you should not do if you visit, its most common or dangerous animals, must-see destinations, and much more. Number 1. Uganda, whose capital is Kampala, is located in the eastern part of the African continent, in the Nile Basin, and is landlocked. It has an area of 93,065 square miles, bordering the Democratic Republic of the Congo to the west, Kenya to the east, South Sudan to the north, and Rwanda and Tanzania to the southwest. The country is in the African Great Lakes region. Within its territory are Lake Victoria, Lake Albert, Lake Edward, and Lake Kyoga. Lake Victoria is the second largest freshwater lake in the world. The official languages are English and Swahili, although about 70 languages are spoken in total, with Luganda being the most spoken, which is the language of Baganda or Ganda, an ethnic group in Baganda. For Western countries, the sub-kingdoms within African countries can be somewhat complex to understand. Baganda is a traditional sub-kingdom within Uganda. While Uganda is a presidential republic, Buganda is a constitutional monarchy with a king, territory divided into districts, and even ministries. In fact, they have their own website, separate from the official Uganda website. Number 2. The wildlife of Uganda is very diverse. This animal, called the gray-crowned crane, or ngali, is the national bird of Uganda. It appears on the flag and the coat of arms. The colors of its feathers, black, yellow, and red, are the same as those of its 6-striped flag. There are also about 5,000 chimpanzees, the animals genetically closest to humans, sharing 98.8% of our DNA. Hippos, which are found in national parks with rivers or lakes, such as Queen Elizabeth National Park or Murchison Falls National Park. Although the hippo is an herbivore, it is the most dangerous animal in the country, killing about 500 people in Africa each year. There are also about 5,000 elephants in Uganda, with the population recovering from 700 individuals in the 1980s. The two main threats to elephants are habitat loss and poaching, which kills them for their ivory. Currently, the global elephant population is about 450,000 elephants, a tiny number compared to the 25 million that existed in the 16th century. In the 1990s, the population fell sharply to under 300,000, and by 2008, it reached 470,000 individuals, shrinking again to the present day. This is another species that can be observed in Uganda, the black rhinoceros, but only in private sanctuary, as it became extinct in its natural habitat in the 1980s due to poaching and habitat loss. Other species in the country include the northern white rhinoceros, buffalo, Nile crocodiles, lions, leopards, and many more. Number 3. Uganda is located on the equator, which means it has a tropical climate with high temperatures and humidity throughout the year. Its landscape is diverse, with mountains, savannas, and forests. The Western Rift Valley runs through the country, dividing it into two distinct regions, the highlands to the west and the lowlands to the east. The Western Highlands are characterized by the mountainous terrain, with the highest peak being Mount Margarita at an altitude of 16,764 feet above sea level. The eastern lowlands are flat, with grass-covered savannas and forests. Murchison Falls National Park is located in this region and has a wide variety of wildlife, including elephants, lions, and crocodiles. It also hosts Murchison Falls, where the Nile River flows through a narrow gorge and falls more than 141 feet to create a thundering waterfall. The northern part of Uganda is characterized by mountains and hills, with Mount Elgon National Park being the main attraction, featuring several species of primates such as the red-tailed monkey, the diademed monkey, or the gorilla I've already told you about. This makes it a popular destination for hikers and wildlife enthusiasts. Number 4. This is a typical scene in Uganda. Local farmers wanting to sell their banana produce. Uganda is one of the top 10 banana producers in the world. In the book, My African Journey, Winston Churchill describes the capital, Kampala, as invisible because it is hidden by the leaves of countless banana plantations. However, the most exported product is coffee, accounting for 80% of exports. Number 5. Ugandan cuisine is heavily influenced by the country's indigenous cultures, as well as its history of trade and migration. About 70% of Ugandans are engaged in agriculture, and staple foods are typically composed of local crops such as bananas, cassava, millet, sweet potatoes, and corn. A typical dish is matoke, or banana stew with chicken. A type of porridge made from ground millet or corn, known as posho or ugali, is also commonly eaten and is usually served with a side of beans or vegetables. Luambo is another traditional Ugandan dish that combines beef, chicken, or goat with peanut sauce and occasionally includes mushrooms, dried fish, or smoked meat. All ingredients are wrapped in banana leaves and steamed for several hours. It is accompanied by sautéed vegetables or steamed banana mash. Meat is also an important part of the Ugandan diet, with chicken, beef, and goat being the most consumed meats. Fish is also eaten, especially in areas near lakes and rivers. Food is often spicy, using various local spices and herbs, such as chilies, ginger, and garlic. Uganda is also known for its street food, which includes foods such as roasted or fried bananas, chapati, a type of flatbread, or grilled meat on a skewer. Number 6. Uganda ranks among the 30 poorest countries in the world. It is estimated that 40% of the population lives below the poverty line, especially in rural areas. Approximately 41% of Ugandans live on $2 or less a day, which is considered extreme poverty. One of the causes of this poverty is education. many children cannot access quality education, especially in rural areas, which makes it difficult to break the cycle of poverty. They're born in poor places with a lack of resources to create wealth. In fact, the country has one of the highest illiteracy rates in the world, and only 50% of young people complete primary education. Many schools lack clean water, electricity, and basic materials such as books, computers, or projectors. Additionally, there is a shortage of teachers with adequate training and an excess of students per class. Number 7. Uganda is one of the countries with the youngest population, with an average age of 17 years. Nearly 80% of its population is under 30 years old. Furthermore, its population grows by 3% per year, which amounts to 1.2 million more Ugandans. Each Ugandan woman has an average of 5 children. These figures of youth and birth rates in Uganda are very different from those of other countries that have an aging population and low birth rates. South Korea is the country with the fewest children per woman. The average is just 0.8 children for each South Korean woman. And in Japan, the world's oldest country, the average age is 49 years, almost equal to that of Germany, Italy, or Greece. Number 8. Access to clean drinking water has been a problem for decades in Uganda. Currently, just over 50% of the population has access to clean water, which makes it more difficult to combat poverty. One challenge is the lack of infrastructure. Many rural areas do not have access to running water, and people have to draw water from rivers, lakes, and wells, which can be contaminated with bacteria and other pollutants. Additionally, many communities lack the resources and infrastructure to maintain and repair existing water systems, leading to service disruptions and an increase in waterborne diseases such as cholera, diarrhea, typhoid fever, or dysentery. However, the deadliest disease in Uganda is malaria, transmitted by mosquito bites, endemic in 95% of the country, and causing the death of more than 20,000 Ugandans each year. Number 9. Uganda is one of the 10 countries that the Nile River crosses. Its source is considered to be in the mountains of Burundi, although Lake Victoria is sometimes also considered, with 11,965 square miles of water in Ugandan territory. This lake has an area of almost 27,000 square miles, 209 miles in length, and 2,077 miles of coastline. It is the second largest freshwater lake in the world, after North America's Lake Superior. Despite its enormous size, it is not very deep, with an average depth of 131 feet and its deepest point at 272 feet. It is so large that it has about 1,000 islands. On one of them, Ngamba Island, there is a chimpanzee sanctuary. The largest inhabited island is Ukerewe, home to 345,000 people. This lake also contains Magingo Island in the Kenyan part, one of the places with the highest population density in the world. Another notable island is Dolwe Island, located to the east of the lake, filled with large rocks of strange shapes. It has existed for about 300 years, currently inhabited by people from different regions. The rock paintings on this island are a major tourist attraction and are distributed in 7 sanctuaries. Number 10. In Uganda, crossing rivers, fishing, or even boating can be dangerous due to attacks from hippos or crocodiles. The hippos living around Lake Victoria kill dozens of people each year. People go to the waters to fish and are attacked by this species, whose males are very territorial. This animal weighs between 2,866 and 7,055 pounds, inhabiting rivers and small lakes. It is the deadliest wild mammal, ending the lives of 500 people in Africa each year. Hippos do not eat humans, but they attack other animals that enter their territory. They usually spend much of their time submerged in water, which is dangerous as people can enter their territory without seeing them. In fact, attacks on humans in boats are common. The animal overturns the boat and subsequently attacks the humans, crushing, biting, or drowning them. There are also crocodile attacks. The famous case of the crocodile known as Osama, which is estimated to have killed 80 people from the village of Lunganga between 1991 and 2005. Number 11. About 85% of Uganda's population is Christian, most of them Catholic and Anglican, with a Pentecostal and Adventist minority. There is also a 13% Muslim population and Jewish, Hindu, Buddhist, and traditional religion communities. Number 12. This is a traditional village in Karamoja, a region in the northeast of the country, where the Karamojong, an ethnic group that lives off herding and farming, reside. The barrier of shrubs you see is built to delineate the village's territory, as well as to protect against wild animals. Number 13. In Uganda, polygamy is legal, allowing a man to marry multiple wives at once. It is estimated that 8% of women and 7% of men live in a polygamous relationship. In Ugandan families, the man has more authority than any other family member, and there is the utmost respect for elders. When getting married, the main goal of a couple is to have children. Divorces are extremely rare, as marriage is considered a lifelong commitment. Number 14. If you visit Uganda, there are several things you should not do. If you go to see the gorillas, do not take photographs with flash, as they do not like it and could react violently. Keep at least 23 feet away from the animals, both to keep them relaxed and to avoid transmitting human diseases to them. Do not touch them. Speak loudly, eat, drink, or look them in the eyes. If you do not want to be visited by an angry hippo or Nile crocodile, do not swim in lakes or rivers. They can also be found outside of natural parks. Another risk of swimming is contracting schistosomiasis, a parasitic disease. If you visit villages or rural areas, do not take photos of locals without their consent, or of security personnel or facilities. Do not kiss in public, as some Ugandans may see it as immoral. Moving around on boda-bodas, which are motorcycle taxis, is not recommended, as it can be dangerous. In general, avoid driving, as the country's accident rate is high. Crossing the street without much caution is dangerous. To avoid stomach problems, do not drink unbottled beverages, and be very cautious with street food or local eateries that may have low hygiene standards. It is best to avoid uncooked food. As common sense, do not go out at night without local people, and do not display signs of having money. Also, remember that there are many cases of malaria in Uganda, so travel informed about this disease and take preventative pills. Finally, avoid taking selfies with poor people you do not know, something that has become popular on social media in recent years, as it is seen as in poor taste and a form of exploitation of humble people. Number 15. West of Uganda is the Masindi district, named after its main city. Over 50% of Murchison Falls National Park is located in this district, as well as the Omakama Palace, one of the palaces of the Omakama of Bunyoro, which translates to the King of Bunyoro. It is a title given to the rulers of the East African Kingdom of Bunyoro Kitara, which was an independent state from the 16th to the 19th century. Number 16. In Kitaga, western Uganda, you will find the Katanga Hot Springs, which are said to have healing powers. The water from these springs can heat up to 176 degrees Fahrenheit, and the site is surrounded by beautiful vegetation and a landscape of conical hills. Number 17. On Kasubi Hill, located in Kampala, you can visit the tombs of the kings of Buganda, which correspond to the last 4 kings of Buganda: Mutesa I, Mwanga II, Kwa, and Mutesa II. These tombs were built in 1882 and cover 0.104 square miles surrounded by fig trees. Since 2001, they have been part of UNESCO's World Heritage List. Number 18. In the eastern region of Totoro, you will find Totoro, where there is a rock formation known as Totoro Rock, a tourist attraction that can be climbed for a very affordable price. This rock is located 3.1 miles southeast of the central business district of the city and is visible from any point in the Totoro district. Its highest point is 4,865 feet. Number 19. Since 1951, the Entebbe Wildlife Sanctuary has been established in an area of 19.7 square miles. This sanctuary is dedicated to the rescue and recovery of endangered animals and also runs educational programs for people to get involved in environmental care. When it opened, the goal was to provide a refuge for sick, injured, orphaned, or confiscated animals from illegal trade, later adding educational and outreach objectives as well. Number 20. In the south of Uganda, you can find the Karo group, made up of 6 ethnic groups that speak Bari. The term Karo means relative and refers to the relationship between these ethnic groups going beyond language, as they share a common culture. The Karo are famous for their body and facial painting, which they create using ash and water or fat. The designs can change daily and display a wide variety of content, from stars to animal motifs or human hands. Number 21. In northwestern Uganda, near the border with Kenya, is the Ik people, comprising just over 13,000 individuals. They are known for their skill in grinding grains and are currently transitioning from subsistence agriculture to a more Western form of agriculture. Number 22. In the west of the country, the Konjo people live, descendants of Bantu groups, whose land was once part of the Toro Kingdom. Their language is Lukonjo, which belongs to the Western Bantu Lakes group. They are characterized by being short and robust in stature, and are recognized as blacksmiths, potters, and weavers. Number 23. The traditional attire for Ugandan men is called a kanzu. It consists of a white or sand-colored robe that can reach the ankle or the ground. The garment was introduced to Uganda by Arab traders, and after Sakabaka Suna, the king of Buganda, wore it. It was adopted as formal attire for all men in Buganda. Number 24. Women in the central and eastern regions wear a dress and a waist-tied scarf with voluminous shoulders called a gomesi. The dress is typically long and colorful. Buganda was the first tribe to wear this attire, and now it is worn by many Ugandan tribes. Most of these dresses are made of silk or cotton and are only used for special occasions, such as funerals or weddings. Number 25. Palm raffia baskets are one of the most famous handicrafts in Uganda. They are made from dyed palm raffia, which is wrapped around a coil of bukedo, the local term for banana leaf stems. The stems of these leaves are separated into long, thin strips, dried and wrapped with raffia. The result is hand-woven baskets with unique designs and colors in a wide variety of sizes. Number 26. In general, arts and crafts play an important role in traditional Ugandan culture. And another notable handicraft is bead necklaces. Made from reused paper materials, the sale of these necklaces has become a source of income for many women who create unique and highly durable pieces. Number 27. The Bawala dance is a war dance of the Akoli tribe, and also a court dance of the Akoli people, who live in northern Uganda. It is a circular dance in which older women and men participate. The circle represents a fence surrounding the palace courtyard. It can last for hours, as various social events take place simultaneously. Number 28. The traditional Bagandan dance is a social gathering dance that originated in the palace of the Baganda king. It consists of 3 main movements. The first is Nankasa, the second is Bakasimba, and the third is Muwagola. Number 29. It is also important that you learn a bit about Uganda's history. In the 19th century, European explorers began to arrive in Uganda, and in 1894, the country was declared a British protectorate. During the colonial period, the British government carried out significant administrative and educational reforms and also promoted economic development. However, colonization also brought conflicts and forced displacements of the local population. In 1962, Uganda gained its independence from Britain and Milton Obote assumed the presidency. During his tenure, there was great political and economic instability. In 1971, General Idi Amin Dada overthrew Obote and established an authoritarian and brutal regime that ruled until 1979. During his rule, there was widespread population displacement, indiscriminate violence, and massive human rights abuses. Since the fall of Amin's regime in 1979, Uganda has experienced a period of political and economic stabilization, although some conflicts and forced displacements have still occurred. Today, Uganda is a developing country with a growing economy and a young, rapidly growing population. Number 30. Ugandans are very friendly, and you should not hesitate to talk to local people. Regarding Westerners, they have a view that you might not expect. Some Ugandans will see tourists or foreigners as wealthy, influenced by the colonial past, movies, or stories they have heard. Family life in Uganda is at the center of the existence, and they place great importance on relationships, family, church, or mosque. Older people are highly respected, and their knowledge or advice are valued. It is preferable to avoid political topics or those where cultural clashes may occur, as Uganda is still a very traditional country where Western society's values have not yet arrived. Visit this video of Mozambique to learn about another African country. If you liked Uganda, hit the like button and subscribe with the notification bell activated. See you soon!